Oh, yeah. It's another week of baseball season. First week of Major League Baseball in the books. Of course, we haven't had minor league baseball yet. Jeremy's with me. Jeremy, I'm a little aggravated today. I can't find, I have all these fancy gadgets for media production. I have a USB microphone and I can't find it, but because I need to get you a USB microphone.
Yeah, there's a little bit of an echo on this side.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Hey, we were together for the first time in person on opening day, Thursday the 8th. Yeah. The Astros then had their first home game and won 6-2 over Oakland. Fans were in the stands up to 50% capacity, which they said was a sellout. Someone on Twitter said to me, I loved the fact that the fans were there, the excitement at the ballpark. I hated that it appeared that most fans were not wearing masks. Of course, the Astros said, if you're not actively eating or drinking, you need to wear your mask. Where do we go with this? Is it a situation where Major League Baseball will step in, or really they don't care unless it's a situation that involves players and coaches and on-field personnel? Did I stump you on that?
No, I think Major League Baseball cares. I think we're in a situation now where, we look at our state, and there is no mask mandate anymore, right? We are able to be 100% open. That's, there's evidenced by the Rangers, last week or 4 or 5 days ago, So these aren't things where the Astros approached it is anything on the Astros. They did a good job with it as far as what they can do. The people I know are ready to get back to some kind of normal. And I think people want to, as vaccines roll out, and most people I know are taking them or having them. I've had my first shot. I will have my second one in a couple of weeks. I feel like people think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We can stamp this thing out. And honestly, look at the rest of the world. You look at Europe, they've had some issues again. Look at Canada, they've had some issues again. Province of Ontario's in their third lockdown. And the United States continues to move forward. The pandemic isn't over. It's nowhere near finished. We still have to be responsible, but people are ready to get back to normal. And the excitement of being able to be at a sporting event, I think it was 500 plus days since people have been back in a stadium like that in Houston. It's a little bit of excitement. We'll see what happens after that. I don't think Major League Baseball does anything. I think it's a state-to-state deal. I think even President Biden has kind of continued that, along with what the former President Trump put in play. There's some tighter recommendations, but the health, the chief health. What's Fauci's exact title? Chief health examiner,
something like that.
Whatever. I mean, they're saying we're kind of getting out of it. So we're just going to have to kind of tighten, grin and bear it, and be responsible individually. And there's not a whole lot anybody else can do.
On KHOU 11 News, you and I both mentioned how important it was to get off to a 5-1 start, now 6-1 start for the Houston Astros. It's tied for their best in team history, along with 2018. 1988 and 1987. I think those are the three teams that were each 6-1 through 7 games. I'm telling you, man, could you imagine what the mood would be like if this team got off to, say, a 2-5 start? I think inside the clubhouse, I think they would be okay, but shoot, I remember when the Astros were a World Series contender and they got off to a slow start, and Josh Reddick was like, "Chill, everybody, chill." But I think more so from the opposing fans and Twitter and social media, and what kind of anger and just what would be said about them if they hadn't gotten off to this strong start.
People want to see this crew fail, and my I've been, and I think this is beyond fair, ridiculously tough on the Houston Astros organization for the last several years. But a lot of that had to do with Jeff Luhnow and AJ Hinch, and how they were doing things with the front office, Kevin Goldstein, Brandon Taubman, how they drafted, had nothing to do with the actual players on the field. when this happened, last time we were together directly in person was to cover the Astros cheating scandal. I went back and looked it up, right, on Sports Extra. And what I can say is players follow their leader. Okay? It's over. It is over. At some point, we all have to turn the page and move on. The vitriol they're going to see from fans around the country is going to be something like fans didn't have a chance last year to do this. They're going to let it out this year. But if the Astros go play well and they do what they're supposed to do without any of the aids, let's say, to help them understand what pitch is coming, there really isn't anything else the fans can say at all. That's like your line yesterday. Look at the scoreboard, right? Nothing else you can do. So the best thing they can do, and this is a real big credit to James Click and to Dusty Baker and what their leadership is doing with this club, is to step in and keep these guys focused, energized, and loose and free to go play well so that they can be the talented guys that they are and get rid of this stigma. Now, best thing for the Houston Astros organization, and unfortunately for them, there's nothing in the system, I think, that can really help this process. I think everything, the best major league ready stuff they have is in the big leagues now, is to go win the whole thing. And if they win the whole thing, you can say whatever you want about 2017, but they got two of them, right? Because this one will legitimize that one, regardless of the drum banging or trash can throwing or Western Union telegrams, whatever they were using to figure out what signs were coming. So we do have to turn the page. 6-1 is great. 7-1 is better. They're going to come back to earth at some point, but if they can be good in spurts, really good in other spurts, and minimize damage, they got a chance to do this thing. I mean, baseball is baseball.
You can't win a championship in April, but I think you can lose one. And the ground that Oakland has lost, man, come September, late August, I think they're going to be looking back at these days in April and saying, oof, if we had just won a couple more of those games, we might be in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, no disagreement. I don't know how you can were they 1-7? Something like that?
Something like that.
I don't know how you can overcome that. I mean, again, it's early, but if you do this in April and you're, let's just say 10-20, that's a tough hole to dig out of for the rest of the year, right?
One and 7 indeed.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough hole to dig out of the rest of the year. The Astros are the best team in the West. We've talked about that before. I think somebody you said predicted the Angels to win it.
Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, Mariners aren't going to win the West. I still think they're 2 years away and need to have some major overhaul changes at the GM level. I've been saying that for a while. I think the Angels are going to be good. They'll be better in a couple of years. It's not their time. The Rangers are the Rangers still. And Oakland's apparently, oops. So, I mean, again, it's early, but the Astros have a chance to really win this division handily if they can just be themselves. And they got to stay healthy. They got to get Valdez back. There's some things that have to happen, but if they can do what they do, then it has a chance to not be close in the West.
Have you watched enough baseball? Because I know you're a busy man. Busy. Have you watched enough baseball to give me your biggest surprise thus far in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, I've watched enough, and I can tell you that my biggest surprise in Major League Baseball was the Boston Red Sox sweeping the Tampa Bay Rays. I don't care what time of year that is. I know baseball is baseball. That should never happen. The way those two clubs are put together, it's not a slight against the Red Sox. Tampa Bay is just that much better, And to see that happen this early is a little bit frustrating. I'm sure the Rays people were. Or not surprising. I'm sure the Rays people were a little frustrated with it. Obviously Chaim Bloom is the GM in Boston. He came from Tampa. You don't want to lose to your old teammates, when it comes to that. So that's a pretty big surprise for a team that's going to have a chance to win the whole thing too.
How about these? Also in the American League East, the Baltimore Orioles now tied for first with the Red Sox at 4-3.
I don't count them as a team.
Yeah, but still, that's a surprise. Or in the National League, and yes, I'll take it with a grain of salt, but those Cincinnati Reds are 5-1. Now, granted, they played a lot of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, the Reds aren't actually a bad club. I think they have a chance to be okay. The Orioles are playing better than anybody expected, and it's early. And they'll, again, that's why they play the games. I'm joking when I say I don't consider them a team. But that's the Mike Elias, Jeff Luhnow East show, right? So I don't, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Mike put out a propaganda video not too long ago about how good their player development was and their complex was, and that was a first. So to see something like that, big billboard that says, "Hey, we're great," that was interesting. So, we'll see what they do. But yeah, that's a surprise with them winning.
I think they ranked in the bottom 2 or 3 teams in baseball in runs scored, the Reds, and then I think now they're averaging almost 10 runs a game the start of the season. But again, you got to take it with this whole grain of salt that they've been playing the Pirates. And speaking of the Pirates, poor Ke'Bryan Hayes, huh? Ke'Bryan Hayes, injury to his wrist. He's one of the first, or few, I should say, fathers and sons, part of the father and son tandem to hit home runs on opening day.
Yeah, Key's a great kid. He's a grown man now, but he's such a great kid. Charlie's a good person. Love him. Good family. We had a good experience. We went and talked to Ke'Bryan, right? And got to visit with Charlie again. It's just, he's got a chance to win Rookie of the Year, or had a chance to win Rookie of the Year. He can still come back and do that. He is one of the most engaging people. He is an 80 defender at third base. He is somebody who's going to hit better than anybody ever thought. And the Pirates did an excellent job of selecting him where they did. And they stole him at the 32, I want to say, 32nd pick in the country. They stole him right in that range. And he's going to be an all-star for a while, provided that he's healthy. So he'll have his day in the sun. It's frustrating to see him get off to an injury in the first week of the season, but he's there to stay. That's for sure.
Shoot, Forbes even had an article on him, Forbes.com. Ke'Bryan Hayes is for real and the foundation of the Pittsburgh Pirates rebuild. Oh, sorry. That's not Ke'Bryan calling or Charlie. Sorry about that.
Well, the Pirates got some good young players. I mean, Cole Tucker has a chance to be all right. Obviously Key. Adam Frazier's got a chance to win a batting title. They've got some guys there that have a chance to do some things. So it's the right movement to let them grow up together in the big leagues and see what happens. We'll see how it turns out. Frazier's
off to a slow start, though. 227 thus far. You think he can win a batting title, huh? Oh, speaking of, should we go back to one of our stalwarts, one of our big deals that we always do on this podcast? Go back to your scouting reports from past years?
Let's do it.
Well, we just gave away who it is. It's Adam Frazier. This is your report from 2013, right?
Yeah, 2013 draft, same team as Kendall Graveman and Dustin Renfroe.
You put regular shortstop in major league role, top of the order bat, grinds through at bats and doesn't take pitches off, knows the zone, loose, easy swing that is short to the ball, has bat speed, can pull the ball down the lines for extra bases, line drive approach in the middle of the field, instinctual defender with easy actions, good first step and range to both sides, will get better as the game speeds up. Do you have a comp here?
Oh, no. It's a tough one.
Oh, there's the comp. Makeup, gamer, grinder, competes, aggressive. Walt Weiss.
Okay. That's a good one. That was a good one.
Walt Weiss ever win a batting title?
No, we won Rookie of the Year.
Yes.
Adam Frazier can hit. He can play defense. He's a good baseball player. He has gotten better as the game has sped up, obviously. And I said Dustin Renfroe. It was actually Hunter Renfroe.
Yeah.
But those guys together, watching how he played the game, I saw him face Ryan Stanek at Arkansas. I saw him another time. Can't remember where. Maybe Ole Miss. And I got to tell you, all he did was play well. And I just said, look, you take this guy in the second round and, you put him in the second round because that's where he sits on the board, but he's not going to go in the second round. He should have gone sort of around 3 or 4. I think he actually went in the 6th round. And I remember screaming when we got to the 3rd round. It's like, all right, you don't want him at 1. Okay, fine. We took DJ Peterson. That was a miss. We had guys like Tim Anderson, another guy. We could have had that year. See, now we're going to do it, right? We could have had Tim Anderson, could have made a deal to get an arm out of the Midwest, taken Adam Frazier, and then the next year backed it up with Rhys Hoskins. Whoops. Right? I mean, and you could have had all the – that just frustrates me. Oh, just because you work so hard to get that, and you line these guys on the board, and you take guys like my bad. Another guy we could have had was Aaron Judge.
Yeah, he's okay.
Same draft. You could have had Anderson and backed him up with Judge, taking an arm and taking Adam Frazier. How does that look in Seattle right now? With Kyle Seager, Rhys Hoskins at first base, Adam Frazier at second, Anderson at third, Seager at Anderson at short, Seager at third, and Judge in right field.
DJ Peterson. You picked Austin Wilson, huh?
Mac liked him better than Aaron Judge. I knew we had a second pick in there somewhere in the second round. We could have gotten Judge in the second round.
I mean, Austin Wilson looked the part, right?
Give Austin Wilson $2 million. Could have got Judge in the second round for $2 million. And my old co-worker there and somebody who used to work here with us in the series, Butch Bacala, I'll give him credit. Literally, we call it standing on the table. Stood on the table screaming for Aaron Judge, and we couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. Imagine taking they all lined up for us too. Tim Anderson, Aaron Judge, pick an arm in the second after Austin Wilson and go get Frazier. Next, we're back it up with Hoskins. We took Alex Jackson, I think, at 6 and 14. I was the West Coast guy for that. But you could have had Trey Turner. You could have had no, I'm serious. I mean, if you take Anderson, you probably don't take Turner, but you could have had Conforto. That's who it was in 14. Could have had Conforto. So you'd have Conforto in left or center, Judge in right. All these guys lined up. Whoops.
Austin Wilson topped out high A ball.
$2 million.
Didn't hit, sophomore. He hit 309 as a freshman, but after that, he never batted more than 300 in college.
We had concerns about Aaron Judge of swing and miss. Butch.
Really? Because, listen, I mean, Stanford outfielders, they've not fared too well. I mean, the guys that pop to mind, the one that really is Michael Taylor.
Yeah.
Big 6'6" guy, not the one for the Royals.
Yeah.
Yeah. He tore it up in the minors, and then great guy.
Mm-hmm. We could have had who else could we have had that year? Could have had Tyler. We did take Tyler O'Neill in the third round.
Yes, you did.
13. So if you just kept O'Neill, drafted around him with Judge and Conforto, there's your outfield. Conforto plays center, Judge plays O'Neill plays left, Judge plays right. That's your outfield in Seattle. Seager, Anderson, Frazier, Hoskins around the dirt, and you can go build a staff off the stuff you just draft pitching, which we had plenty of opportunity to do that, and we passed on that. Seattle Mariners be set up to win World Series the next 8 years.
How many guys in that class do you think made the majors?
Which class are we talking about?
2013 Seattle.
Well, that was Peterson 1, Wilson 2, so that was a no. I think O'Neill was 3, so that's 1. Adam Yarbrough, I want to say, was in that draft. Is that right? No. I'm going to say 2 guys.
I think this might surprise you. 8 guys.
Where do we take them? How much impact did we take?
Well, that's the difference. Impact. O'Neill, Reinheimer.
Oh, yeah, Jack, 5th round. Yeah, Arizona.
Tyler Olson.
That's right, left-handed reliever. We took him in the 7th round as
Tyler Smith.
He got to the big leagues?
That's what it says here, according to the Baseball Cube.
Morgan State, really? Wow. All right.
Played in 2017, 10 games.
With Seattle, right?
Hmm.
And Olsen was with Seattle too in the big leagues?
Let me look. Cleveland, the Yankees, and Seattle.
There it is. Olsen was a left-hander. That makes sense. Mac was good on that. He'd get those left-handers through 88, 90. Could turn it over, below hitting speed, funky, tough to see. He was good in that realm. And Butch did a good job with him too.
Emilio Pagan.
Yeah, that's a good one. That was we took him later in the draft. 15th round?
10th.
10th round. Yeah.
Zach Littell,
Yeah, again, fringe guys.
Ian Miller,
That's right. Ian got called up last year too. We take
outfielder, Wagner,
17th, 18th round, something like that.
14. Paul Fry
Yeah,
from St. Clair County Community College. That wasn't in your area, was it?
no, good for them. Yeah, I mean those guys
they all made it, but
made it. It's not, but those guys sound like they're in the right place, the right time, opportunity when Seattle wasn't doing very well. If you drafted the impact we talked about, those guys never see the big leagues, at least not there.
But isn't that crazy? Like a lot of times we look at a draft and certainly it's about how many guys make the majors. But I think that's even if you in that draft room, if they said to you guys, listen, you're going to have 8 guys make the bigs, would you take the 8 guys or do you want that one home run pick that becomes an all-star?
Well, I think there's different parts of the draft, so it's hard to answer that question. You always want to take guys who are going to play in the big leagues and help you win, but the key part of that is help you win, right? So if you're in the first round and you take a DJ Peterson and you could have Tim Anderson, you're in the second round and you take Austin Wilson and you could have had Aaron Judge, especially for the money you paid. I don't care how many guys played in the big leagues. That's a whiff, okay? You have to get those guys in the front. In the first round, you have X people to choose from. Second round, you still got first round guys to choose from. Even in the third round, you got first round guys to choose from. After that, you get into second rounders, some guys in the third round that you would really think, but the rounds that you're in, there's only so many guys that can go there. You start selecting there. So it's how you win the rounds that matters. It's if Mac was really good and the Seattle staff was good when Mac listened to them in the later rounds. As you can tell, all the guys you're talking about really were what, 8th round and on, 9th round and on, So Pagan is probably the biggest surprise for me out of the 10th round. He was like, what, Belmont Abbey or something like that? Yeah, and we took him, and that was a pure area scout sign, and Mac had an affinity for the area scout. Funny story, the area scout, and this is a true story, and I this is going to be said on the podcast. This area scout would not get out of Mac's pocket. He was the biggest. I'm holding on to my scouting director. Nobody else can be around him. Nobody can talk to him. I'm afraid somebody else is going to be there. Oh my goodness, what's Mac doing? Hey Mac, you need a soda. Hey Mac, you need. It was unbelievable to work with, but that relationship got in players, right? So when it came to Emilio Pagan, the guy's name is Devitt Moore. Devitt did a good job on Emilio Pagan, and Mac took him in the 10th round because he was Devitt's guy. He was the biggest surprise. He's actually been serviceable for a couple teams: Oakland, San Diego, Tampa Bay, right? So, but that's how that works. You got to win each part of the draft. You can't just take guys that are big leaguers. Oh, we got 8 big leaguers. That's great. Did they help you win? So at least that's my perspective.
Chad Pinder was in that second round later in the draft.
Yeah, and Mac wanted him.
And Devin Williams.
Who?
Devin Williams, the reliever for the Brewers.
Me and Tony Russo went and saw him. I saw him twice, and I was screaming for Devin Williams, high school kid from St. Louis, now with the Brewers, right? Brewers took him in about that same spot. Yeah, you said second round. So
he was 54. Austin Wilson was 49.
Mac wanted, we wanted at that time, and this wasn't how Jack Z drafted, because Jack's record is, almost unmatched, right? Other than Bobby Heck, who's done an exceptional job. There's other guys, Ed Creech, Eddie Bain. There's guys who've done really good jobs. But Jack wanted players. He wanted big leaguers, but he wanted guys to win. He wanted carrying tools. He wanted athletes. He wanted stuff you could build on, and he wanted instincts. And different parts of the draft yield things that are more dominant than others, right? We call them aircraft carriers. Ray Montgomery, same thing, aircraft carriers, right? Mac just tend to like the guy that was 5'11" and, had a couple things he did well and was gritty. And that's what we took, So the drafts and the players that got to the big leagues reflect that. And there were some wins. Brad Miller was a good player. Seager's all Mac, reached back to it was before I got there. Seager reached back and grabbed him. He reached back and grabbed him out of the 5th round where they had him and pulled him up to the 3rd round. They took him. He did some good things there, but yeah, the Emilio Pagan story was kind of an interesting one because he went off the board. The rest of the room went, who? Because we hadn't talked about him. And then, it was the Devitt Moore, I love Tom McNamara fathead type of deal, where he got him taken. So it was great, crazy. Anyway.
By the way, Aaron Judge went number 32 overall, round 1. So
Right. Where did Wilson go?
49. So he was off the board at that point. But
right. But how much did Judge sign for? Because I know we gave Wilson $2 million. That I know for a fact.
I would guess that slot was more than that for Aaron Judge.
I don't think so at that time, man. That was already 8 years ago. 8 years ago.
$1.8 million.
Right. So you could have got Aaron Judge for giving him 2 to 2.1 and guarantee him, and he gets to you. That's how you do it. Hey, we want to take, and they won't say that's how you do it, but you say, hey, we have a really good, we want to take you and not, we can't take you at 12. We want to take you at 49. Right.
And then the player then tells the other teams, I'm not going to sign I'm going to sign for $3 million. And then I'm going to sign for whatever amount. And then he falls to you with that prearranged deal, if you will.
Correct. And the next year we took Alex Jackson at 1, and we took Gareth Morgan and gave him $2 million too. Yeah, I got a phone call. True story. I'm so glad we do this. I can tell the truth. I got a phone call from Butch, who was doing the national stuff at that time, and I was doing the West. This was 14. It was 14, and I'd seen Gareth Morgan, and we all liked him, and he had a ton of power. He had some things he could do. Pretty good athlete, right? All that's true. But I had him behind guys like Derek Hill. I had him behind other guys like Trey Turner. I had him behind other guys like Carlos Rodon. I mean, just, this type of list. And that's not a perfect science of who was on my board, but just to give you an idea. And I got a phone call. Hey, you got to move him up. What do you mean I got to move him up? You got to move him up on the board. Well, why? He said, I said, why? He said, because
your board though, right?
My board. He said, Mac likes him. I said, I like him too. He goes, JB, we might take him. I said, I got him where I got him. He said, who do you compare him to? I said, there's only one comparison for this guy. And this is Mike Stanton at the time, now Giancarlo. It's the only comparison you could have. I said, but I'm not giving him, $2.5 million. I'm not doing it. And so he goes, well, you got to move up the board. So I moved him up the board because my boss told me to do so. We go in, $2 million, we take him, and it's been a mess, right? It's been a mess pretty consistently since he got out there. And to take that kid was baffling that we fell in love with him when we wanted nothing to do with Aaron Judge. It was interesting. And I mean nothing to do with Aaron Judge. Anybody that tells you we liked Mike Trout, that's why he went 24th. Anybody who tells you we like Aaron Judge, that's why I went 32. The Yankees liked him. They took him. The Angels liked Mike Trout. They took him. The rest of us, let me say this another way. Many of us were scared to death. Okay? Even I had Trout in the sandwich round. I'll just tell you that. I mean, I went and saw him in New Jersey. He hit left-handed for me one day, and he ran well, couldn't throw. And I was like, I get it. Athletic and runs, got some power. What are we going to do here? I don't know. New Jersey kid hasn't played a lot of cold weather, sandwich round. They took him to 24. You know who we took? Kentrell Davis. Whoops. Eric Arnett. Ouch. So it's not a perfect science, but some of those picks were kind of comical because of how they happened.
Trout wasn't even the top pick for the Angels.
There was some strategy to that. The guy was the top pick for the Angels was Randall Grichuk, and they did that to pay Trout more than Grichuk. Oh, boy.
Gareth Morgan update. You want a Gareth Morgan update?
Is there an update to have? Let's go.
I mean, he's Canadian, but that's not an update. He's always been Canadian.
Yeah, whole time.
Last taste of of professional baseball. Obviously, last year no minor league baseball. So, 20 homers, 49 runs driven in at Inland Empire. And I mean, listen, man, he strikes out once every 3 plate appearances, maybe even more than that. Actually, I should take that back. He strikes out 1 out of every 2 plate appearances.
Half the time. He either arrives on time and it goes a long way, or he swings and misses.
I mean, 180 strikeouts in 2018 and 334 at bats. Wow.
Is he still playing?
Those were Baseball Reference stats. I hope people aren't bored by this.
No, I'm pretty sure they're interested in it, especially when you talk about how this comes together. So
Jason Churchill will be interested in it.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Jason Churchill, Seattle Mariners guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Active. Yeah. So he's still with the Mariners. He's apparently assigned to Salt Lake.
That's the Angels, right?
AAA.
Is that the Angels now? Salt Lake?
Yes, I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Well, that's how fast it can turn. You can take certain guys in certain spots and win championships, or you can take guys just get the big leagues and cover your butt. You be the judge. Pun intended.
Should we hold off on the other topic that we talked about, the combine? We can hold off.
Do that one next week.
Okay. Because we've gone a long time.
Yeah, it's usually how we roll.
Yeah. All right, everybody. For Jeremy, I'm Jason, and we'll see you Sunday on Sports Extra, right, Jeremy?
Right, Sunday night Sports Extra. Absolutely.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Leave us a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's all down below in the description. See you, everybody. Thanks for listening to Extra Bases.